Hi, first graders. I'm back here with Jack again. Oh, I gotta fix his hat. He's wearing this special hat just for you. And we really hope you enjoyed the last story, Iggy Peck, Architect. And for our next art project, we are going to be creating a cityscape with all kinds of architectural buildings, just like Iggy loved to draw and make. So I hope you enjoy it. Are you going to enjoy it, Jack? Yeah, Jack says yes. And we hope to see you soon. Bye. Bye. Readers, welcome back. For our Iggy Peck Architect Inspired Art Project, you are going to need the following materials. If you have a brown paper bag or some newspaper to cover your work surface, that would be great, because we are going to use some watercolor paints, or any paints you have on hand would be fine. You also are going to need a cup of water. You could use a paper cup or a paint cup, but you shouldn't use a cup from that you drink out of. So maybe if you have a paper cup on hand, or if you do painting and you have a cup that you only use for water for painting, that would be best. You're gonna need a paintbrush, or a couple paintbrushes if you have them, some either newspaper or magazines, old newspaper and magazines, or construction paper scraps if you have them would be great, a scissors and a glue stick, and either a black pen or black marker. To do this project, just a piece of white drawing paper, or just from your computer paper is fine. We're actually going to need two pieces, one to do our painting, and then one we're going to use this piece to do our windows for our architecture project. All right. If you don't have paints, you can always use crayons or color pencils. That would be fine. So you should now stop the video to get all of those supplies so you're ready to go, and then I'll see you back. Okay, for this project, we're going to have our paper the side to side way, the hot dog way. And if you have, again, a paper bag or newspaper to put under your work surface, that would be great. Now, the first thing we're going to do is paint our sky for our background before we add our buildings. Now, I'm going to look at my handy dandy color wheel for that, and thinking, well, yes, we can paint a sky, of course, just blue, but I want to make my sky more colorful than that. I'm thinking more of a sunset, so I can do more warm colors. Or if you want to do more of a blue sky at night, you could do blues, blue violets, violets, okay? So you choose. I'm going to start at the top and work my way down to the bottom of my paper with my paints. All right, so open up my paint box, and if you don't have this many colors, that's fine. All you need is like the primary and secondary colors. That would be fine. I'm going to dip my brush into my water, okay? And I'm going to actually put a little bit of water in all of my colors. That way, when I go to paint, the colors are going to spread a lot more evenly and easily. All right. So I'm going to pick a point on my color wheel to start for my sky. You can pick any point that you want. I'm going to start with red, right? So I'm going to put some red paint, and I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to go all the way across my paper, straight across, in a sweeping motion, back and forth. I'm going to move my color wheel to the side here. To make it darker, you just add a little more paint. I'm going to wash my brush. Now, those of you know SpongeBob in the classroom. If you don't have SpongeBob,
You can dip it on a napkin or paper towel, or just dip your extra water onto your paper bag or newspaper. I'm going to move down now. Started with red here. Maybe I'm going to go to purple. Because as you see, red and purple make red-violet, which is a great combination. What we don't want to do is go across on the wheel. That's called complementary colors. So if I did green right after my red, it would turn into brown or gray. And I don't want my sky to look brown or gray. So I'm going next to each other. I'm making sure my colors have similarities. I'm going to wash my brush again. I'm at purple. I'm going to move to blue. Ooh, I like this blue a lot. Again, I'm going back and forth with a sweepy motion. And then I'm going to move, you know what, I'm going to go back to red again, because blue and red, as we know, make purple. Okay, Jack. My dog Jack's hanging out with me today. Now I'm going to go to orange. Wow. And then from orange, I'm going to go to yellow. Got to dig into this yellow. All the way across. And then maybe I'm going to go to yellow-green. If you don't have yellow-green, you can always make it. What two colors make yellow-green? That's right, yellow and green. So you can overlap yellow and green. That would be just fine. Green, I'm going to go back to blue again. And I'm painting all the way down till I get to the bottom of my paper. Now, as you see, this paper can rip very easily. So you probably shouldn't lift it up the way I just did, because I don't want to rip my paper. All right, I think that looks pretty awesome. So what I'm going to do is put this aside and let it dry before I glue my buildings on top. So go put this aside to dry, and then I'm going to tell you what the next step is going to be. All right. So I forgot to mention, for my friends who don't have paints at home, that's totally fine. You can use crayons or colored pencils to do your sky. I did it the same way. Again, I'm looking at my color wheel. I use combinations of warm colors together and cool colors together, blending as I went along. Okay, so that's totally fine. I think it looks just as beautiful. All right, so let's move on to our buildings. This is something I printed out just to get the basic shape of some of the buildings I want to add to my picture. I am going to use old newspaper, old magazines. I even found comic section. I know that's some of your favorites. It's my son's favorites, is the comics and the newspaper, to cut out some buildings. All right. So the basic shapes you can do are rectangles. You can do triangles, of course, for pointed roofs. You could do domes. Those are roofs that kind of have that semicircle shape. And these little details on the tops of the buildings, we're not going to try cutting those out because those are really tricky. So these tiny details, I would suggest drawing those on at the end after we glue on our buildings. All right, so I'm just going to start with my newspaper, and I'm just going to start by cutting out a rectangle. Now I don't want to cut out my buildings too itty bitty, because this is a big city and I want to be able to fit a bunch of them. So I have two big rectangles. I think that looks cool. The next shape you can do, again, is a rectangle with a point at the top, triangle. If you want to invent your own buildings, that's totally awesome as well. So I would cut at least, oh, I don't know, maybe at least 8 to 10 buildings for your picture. This is a semicircle. And I'm actually cutting through 2 pieces of paper. Okay, so I have a good variety of buildings here. I cut through 2 pieces, so some of my buildings look exactly the same, which I think is fine. Can add more to my picture that way. I have some tall ones with pointed roofs, some just rectangular ones, some rounded shapes. Okay, at this point, I'm gonna see if my painting is dry. And what we can do, even before I glue, is I'm going to start arranging my buildings. And you can do this by overlapping. I can do some taller ones in the back, some shorter ones in the front. You can cut your buildings. Oh, I'm actually going to cut this one narrower. I want this one to be tall and skinny. I think that looks pretty good. So once you have the arrangement you want of your buildings, you can take your glue stick and start gluing them down onto your background piece. Okay, and I'm going to do that now. Okay friends, I'm back. I overlapped smaller buildings in front of taller buildings to kind of show that my city has a lot of different layers to it. I have a different amount of sizes on my buildings. And now I'm going to add some windows. Now to do this, what you can do is take another piece of just white computer paper and just cut a skinny strip on one end. And if you have another type of paper, colored paper for this, for windows, because this is going to be our windows, that's fine. I'm going to cut 2 strips, okay? And then from there, I'm just going to cut some smaller squares for my windows. You can have larger ones for larger windows, some bigger rectangles actually for doors of your building. I'm just going to cut a bunch so I have them. Okay, and now I want to take my rectangles and squares and kind of arrange them on my buildings as windows and doors. And then from that point, oh, did you notice I have a sea turtle? That's so cool on one of my buildings. So you're gonna just place them where you want them, and then you can take your glue stick and glue them down. I'm gonna do that step now. Alright, so I have my windows, my doors glued. I also thought this will make great signs for my buildings. So now we're going to do my favorite part, is adding all the cool details to your city. You can use a pen or a black marker for this step. I'm going to do a combination of both. So things that you can do, I'm going to add some doorknobs. I'm going to add some lines for some windows in some of my buildings. I think it would be cool to have a little person peeking out, waving hi. I'm going to label my signs. I'm going to do a Starbucks. This is going to be pizza. All right, so I added some smokestacks to this building. I added some little, I guess, radio towers that could be up here. So any kind of little details you want to add, that'd be great. This is Hotel 57. I thought putting addresses on some of my buildings. I have a little kitty poking out of this window. He's so cute. Pizza shop, Starbucks with a little coffee logo in the window. And then you can also add things to your background. Okay, so if this is a sunset, maybe you want to add some stars, or you can do an airplane, you can do a bird. I think I'm just going to add a few little stars in my sky. All right, and there you have it. And my city looks complete. Oh, it's making me hungry. I think I want to go get some pizza and coffee. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this activity. If you're able to post some of your creations of your city on Seesaw, that would be awesome. I miss you so much, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.